before you fall asleep tonight, I want you to notice something. Why is it that even when your body is tired, your mind just won't stop? You lie down, close your eyes, and suddenly everything comes back. That one sentence, that one moment, that one thing you can't stop thinking about. And no matter how hard you try, your mind keeps going, again and again and again. But what if the reason you can't sleep is not because your life is too heavy, but because your mind doesn't know how to let go tonight? I'm not going to tell you to stop thinking. I'm going to show you something deeper, something that a Zen master once understood. That peace doesn't come from controlling your thoughts. It comes from not following them. So, just for tonight, let's slow down together. Take a gentle breath and allow your mind to begin to rest before you fall asleep tonight. Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt that the thing exhausting you the most was not your work, not your responsibilities, but your own mind? A mind that never stops. A mind that keeps thinking, keeps worrying, keeps imagining things that haven't even happened yet. And somehow, those thoughts feel heavier than reality itself. There are people who spend their entire lives working hard, but when they finally stop and look back, they realize something unexpected. What drained them the most was never the job, never the struggle, but the endless stream of thoughts inside their own head. A small problem becomes something big. A careless sentence turns into a sleepless night. A simple glance becomes a story the mind keeps replaying over and over again. And slowly, day after day, those thoughts begin to build. Like small waves at first, harmless, barely noticeable. But over time, they grow into a storm. A storm strong enough to wash away your peace. When we are young, we worry about the future, about success, money, what others think of us. And when we grow older, the worries don't disappear. They just change their form. We begin to worry about health, about family, about children, about things that haven't even happened yet. And so, the body may be still, but the mind never rests. It runs in every direction, day after day, night after night. Even when you lie down to sleep, your mind keeps moving, turning, questioning, searching for answers that don't exist. And here's the strange part. We believe that thinking more will solve everything, that if we just think enough, we will find clarity. But the truth is, the more we think, the more tangled everything becomes. The more we analyze, the more exhausted we feel. In the end, the problem may not even be that big, but the mind is already tired before anything even happens. That is why the Zen master Huineng once said, "What makes a person restless is not the world outside, but a mind that refuses to be still." He compared the mind to the surface of a lake. When the wind is calm, the water is clear. It reflects the sky perfectly. But when the wind rises, even slightly, the surface begins to ripple. And suddenly, you can no longer see clearly. The same thing happens inside us. When the mind is filled with constant thoughts, everything becomes unclear. A small comment can hurt you. A tiny situation can disturb your entire day. Not because those things are big, but because your mind has become used to chaos. And maybe this is something many people don't realize. You're not tired because life is too heavy. You are tired because your mind never stops cowing it. There is something quietly happening inside almost everyone, but very few people truly notice it. The mind is almost never in the present. It is either wandering back into the past or rushing forward into the future. You think about things that already happened, mistakes, words you wish you never said, moments you wish you could change. And then, without even realizing it, your mind jumps ahead to things that haven't happened yet. What if this goes wrong? What if I fail? What if something bad happens? So the mind keeps traveling back and forth between what is gone and what has not yet come. And somewhere along the way, you lose the only place where peace actually exists, this moment, because peace has never lived in the past. And it has never existed in the future. It has always been here. But the mind is never here long enough to feel it. That is why, even when life is not too difficult, many people still feel tired, still feel restless, still feel like something is missing, because their mind is never allowed to rest. The Zen master Huineng once taught, to calm the mind is not to force it to stop thinking, but to stop following every thought. Think about that for a moment. You don't have to fight your thoughts. You don't have to push them away. You don't have to silence your mind completely. You only need to do one thing: stop chasing them. Because every thought is like a wave. If you run after it, another wave will follow. And then another, and another, until you are lost in an endless ocean. But if you simply stand still and watch, those waves will pass on their own. This is what most people misunderstand. They think peace comes from controlling life, from fixing everything, from making sure nothing goes wrong. But real peace comes from something much simpler, not adding more noise to what already exists. There are people who look very relaxed on the outside, but inside, they are constantly thinking, replaying conversations, imagining scenarios, overanalyzing everything. And there are others who live simple lives, but carry a quiet calm within them. The difference is not in their circumstances. It is in how their mind behaves. A person who knows how to calm the mind can face big problems and still remain steady. But a person who cannot control their thoughts will turn even small things into heavy burdens. Because when the mind is restless, everything feels heavier than it actually is. And maybe this is the most important thing to understand. You don't suffer because life is too hard. You suffer because your mind never stops reacting to it. So what if, just for a moment, you stopped reacting? What if you paused? Instead of following every thought, what if you let things be? Just as they are, you might realize something surprising. Life was never as heavy as your mind made it feel. There was a woman living in a small coastal town. Her life was not too difficult. She sold simple goods at the market each day. The income was modest, but enough to get by. From the outside, everything seemed normal. Nothing too stressful, nothing too overwhelming. But inside, she was always tired. Not physically, but mentally. Every morning, when she opened her stall, her mind would begin, will I sell enough today? What if no customers come? What if tomorrow's worse? If she sold well, instead of feeling relieved, she would think, what if this luck doesn't last? What if things go downhill? When her children went to school, she worried. When they came home late, she worried. Even when everything was fine, she still worried. At night, when the world became quiet, her mind became louder. She would lie in bed, eyes closed, but thoughts spinning endlessly, relentlessly. Some nights, she couldn't sleep at all, and there were the moments when she felt so exhausted. She just wanted everything to stop, but she didn't know how. Then one day, something very small happened. She passed by a nearby temple and heard a monk speaking. She didn't plan to listen. She didn't expect anything. But for some reason, she stopped, and among all the words, there was one sentence that stayed with her. The monk said, "People are not tired because life is heavy, but because the mind does not know how to stop." That sentence felt simple, but it hit her deeply. For the first time, she realized something. She had been exhausting herself all along, not because of life, but because of her own thoughts. From that day on, She didn't try to change everything. She didn't try to become perfect. She just started with one small thing. Whenever her mind began to race, she paused. She took a slow breath, and she told herself, not everything needs to be thought about right now. At first, it was not easy. Her mind kept returning to old habits. The worries came back, again and again. But this time, she didn't follow them. She simply noticed them and let them pass. Days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months. And slowly, something began to change. Her life was exactly the same. Same market, same routine, same responsibilities. But her heart felt lighter. She still had problems, but they no longer controlled her. And for the first time in a long time, she was able to sleep peacefully. That is the power of learning to stop. Not stopping life, but stopping the mind from running endlessly. That many people misunderstand. They think that letting go means giving up. That staying silent means weakness. That not reacting means losing. But the truth is, it's the complete opposite. Because the person who cannot control their thoughts is not strong. They are simply being controlled. Controlled by emotions. Controlled by fear. Controlled by imagination. On the other hand, the one who can pause, even when everything inside is pushing them to react, that is real strength. Strength is not about thinking more. It is not about analyzing everything. It is not about proving you are right. It is about knowing when to stop, because thinking feels like control. But most of the time, it is just another form of suffering. You replay a moment again and again, trying to understand it, trying to fix it, trying to change it. But no matter how many times you think about it, the past does not change. You imagine the future, trying to prepare yourself, trying to avoid pain, trying to stay safe. But no matter how much you think, the future still hasn't arrived. So what are you really doing? You are living in places that don't exist. And in the process, you miss the only place where life is actually happening. This moment. That is why so many people feel disconnected, even when nothing is wrong. They don't feel at peace because their mind is always somewhere else. The Zen master Huineng taught something very simple. The mind is originally clear. It only becomes disturbed when we keep following thoughts. Think about that. Your mind is not the problem. Thoughts are not the enemy. The problem is, you believe every thought. You follow every thought. You give every thought power. And that is where suffering begins. Because not every thought is true. Not every thought is important. Not every thought deserves your attention. Some thoughts are just noise. Some thoughts are just old habits. Some thoughts are just fear, wearing a different face. But when you don't see that, you treat all of them as real. And slowly, they begin to control your emotions. This is why a small situation can ruin your entire day. Not because of what happened, but because of what your mind keeps saying about it. So letting go does not mean ignoring life. It does not mean becoming cold. It does not mean giving up. It means you stop giving unnecessary thoughts the power to disturb your peace. And when you begin to understand this, something inside you changes. You stop reacting so quickly. You stop overthinking everything. You stop creating problems that don't even exist. And for the first time, you begin to feel what real calmness is. Bain komon min tiep tuk part nam bad jau koi niu. Ko chuyen joy tuk kong vidu kuk mangiup kyungoi. Ksem jen koi video kongj. Tip tuk. Tuyet tu jai min. Se jai men storytelling lien tuk jegu retention dai. Kich ban viet lai part nam. There was a man who made a living washing motorbikes. His work was simple. Every day, customers came and went. The income was steady enough. Life was not too harsh. But inside, He was never at peace. He constantly thought about the future. What if one day no customers come? What if the economy changes? What if everything falls apart? Those thoughts never stopped, even when he was working. His hands were busy, but his mind was somewhere else. And because of that, he became easily irritated. Small things made him angry. Little problems felt overwhelming. At home, he spoke harshly, not because he wanted to hurt anyone, but because his mind was already exhausted. His family began to feel it. The distance grew, quietly, until one day, something unexpected happened. He met a monk. It was just a simple conversation. Nothing complicated, nothing philosophical. The monk asked him, "Today, do you have work?" He said, "Yes." "Today, does your family have enough to eat?" He said, "Yes." The monk smiled gently and said, "If today is still enough, why suffer for a tomorrow that hasn't come?" That was it. Just one sentence, but it stayed with him. For the first time, he realized something. Most of his suffering came from things that didn't exist yet. From that day on, he didn't try to eliminate all thoughts. He didn't try to become a different person. He simply practiced, living one day at a time. When he worked, he focused on his work. When the day ended, he let the day end. When worry appeared, he asked himself,
Is this happening right now?
if not, he let it go. Slowly, his life began to change. Not because his situation improved, not because the world became easier, but because his mind became lighter. And when the mind is lighter, everything else feels lighter too. There was also a driver who spent his days on long roads, meeting all kinds of people, some kind, some difficult, some rude. In the past, he reacted to everything, every harsh word, every unfair situation. He argued, he defended himself, he refused to stay silent, until one day, an argument nearly caused an accident. That moment changed him. From that day on, whenever someone spoke harshly, he simply smiled. Not because he agreed, not because he was weak, but because he understood. If I react, things get worse. If I stay calm, things can pass. And something surprising happened. One day, a passenger spoke to him very rudely. For no reason, he stayed calm, did not argue, did not react. Later, that same person came back and apologized. "I'm sorry, I'm just having a bad day." And in that moment, he understood something deeply. Not every situation needs a reaction. Not every word deserves a response. Because sometimes, your silence protects your peace more than your words ever could.
Ben komun, min tjep tuk part sa u gjajka u trauhoj. Havi gjan oj gach qeo gjengi kong inside kuk mangju, angoj qem gjenkoj kong.
Tip-tuk.
Tu jet voj tu gjaj min se gjajlen. Kjao trau kam kshuk, kong inside regret. Ku gjungoj iksem.
Kich ban vietlai, part sau. There is something almost everyone experiences, but rarely talks about. Regret. Not regret for what they didn't do, but regret for what they thought too much about and what they couldn't let go of. Think about this. How many nights have you lost sleep? Because of something small, a sentence someone said, a moment that didn't go your way, a situation you kept replaying again and again and again. And now, if you look back, does it still matter? Most of the time, the answer is no. But in those moments, it felt heavy, it felt real, it felt important. Because your mind made it that way. There is a pattern that appears in so many lives. People rarely say, "I regret not thinking more." But they often say, "If only I had let it go sooner. If only I had not overthought it. If only I had just moved on." And the painful part is, these realizations always come too late. After the stress,
After the sleepless nights?
After the emotional weight has already been carried, there was a woman who lived with her family in the city. Her life was not perfect, but it was stable. Yet every day, her mind was full. If someone spoke coldly to her, she would think about it for hours. What did they mean? Did I do something wrong? Are they judging me? Even when nothing was wrong. Her mind created stories, and those stories felt real enough to hurt her. She wasn't suffering because of others. She was suffering because she couldn't stop thinking. One evening, after a long day, she sat quietly by herself, and for the first time, she asked a simple question. Are these thoughts helping me? The answer was silence, because deep down, she already knew. They weren't helping. They were exhausting her. They were taking away her peace, without giving anything back. That night, she made a small decision. Not to change her life completely. Not to become someone else. But just this. Whenever a thought appeared that brought no value, she would not follow it. She would notice it and let it pass. At first, it felt impossible. The mind resisted. The thoughts came back stronger. But she kept practicing, and slowly, something shifted. The thoughts didn't disappear, but their power did. And for the first time, she felt something she hadn't felt in a long time. Relief.
Because she finally understood.
You don't need to solve every thought. You don't need to answer every question. You don't need to control everything in your mind. Sometimes, peace begins when you stop trying to fix everything and simply let things be. After everything, all the stories, all the thoughts, all the moments of exhaustion, one simple truth remains. You don't need to control your life. To feel at peace, you only need to stop letting your mind control you. Because life has always been uncertain. There will always be problems. There will always be things you cannot predict, cannot control, cannot fully understand. But your peace was never meant to come from certainty. It comes from something much quieter, much deeper. The ability to let go. Let go of the thoughts that don't help you. Let go of the worries that haven't happened. Let go of the past that cannot be changed. And most importantly, let go of the habit of holding on to everything, because the more you hold, the heavier it becomes. And the more you release, the lighter you feel. There is no need to fix everything tonight. There is no need to understand everything tonight. You don't have to solve your life before you rest. Right now, in this moment, you are allowed to pause. Take a slow breath and gently notice that not every thought needs your attention. Not every feeling needs to be followed. Not everything needs to be carried into tomorrow. You can set it down just for tonight. Let your mind slow down. Let your body relax. Let everything become softer, quieter, lighter. If a thought appears, that's okay. You don't have to chase it. You don't have to fight it. Just let it pass. Like a cloud moving across the sky. And slowly, you will begin to feel a quiet space inside you. A space that has always been there. A space where nothing is missing. Where nothing is urgent. Where nothing needs to be fixed. Only stillness. Only calm. Only peace. And in that space, sleep will come. Naturally. Not because everything is perfect, but because you stopped adding more weight to your mind. So tonight, let everything that is heavy gently fall away. Let every worry soften. Let every tension release. You are safe. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to let go. And as you drift closer to sleep, remember this. Peace is not found in a perfect life. It is found in a quiet mind, And now, as everything becomes quieter, you may begin to notice something. Very gentle, very subtle. Your thoughts are slowing down. Not because you forced them to stop, but because you stopped holding on to them. There is nothing you need to solve tonight. Nothing you need to figure out. Nothing you need to carry anymore. Everything can wait. The past is already gone. The future has not arrived. And this moment is enough. So just breathe slowly, softly, and let your mind become lighter with every breath. If a thought appears, let it pass. If a feeling rises, let it soften. You don't have to hold it. You don't have to follow it. Just let it go, like a cloud drifting across the sky. And as you continue to rest, you may begin to feel a quiet calm spreading inside you, a calm that was always there, waiting for you to stop chasing everything. You are safe. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to let go. And now, slowly, gently, let sleep find you. Good night.